What's going on, guys? It is Desert Sky Outdoors, and it is late September, so that means duck season is approaching, and I got a little DIY video for you. For those of you who don't know, in a few states in the U.S. you can hunt tundra swan, and so I live in Nevada, and we can hunt swan here. We can shoot 2 a year. So I'm going to show you how to make your own, or at least modify some other decoys to make it a little cheaper. Swan decoys, swan floaters run about $80, $70, $80 for just 2, and that doesn't include, the rigging or the weights or anything like that. So I'm going to show you how to do, a dozen or 2 dozen for well under the cost of going and buying, 6 or 8 of them at your sporting goods store. So let's get to it, and I'll show you what you need. All right, first and foremost, you're going to need some of these goose shell decoys. Now these are the oversized ones. These are absolutely giant. They're bigger than a Canada goose, obviously bigger than a swan, but these were real popular in like the 80s and the 90s especially. I'm not sure exactly what brand this is. It's not labeled. I'm not sure exactly who made them, but they were real popular. So search your local Craigslist. I've found 4, 5, 6 ads in the past couple weeks that had these kinds of decoys. So I ended up getting a dozen of them for $75. So if you don't know what a shell decoy is, basically they're meant for mainly field hunting or to put on land. They don't float, and they stack easy, which makes them nice. But anyways, they're going to be perfect to modify into swans. So as you can see, you're going to need some painter's tape. I've already pre-taped this guy up. Swans have black bills like geese, and I'm just covering up their eyes, and then the rest we will paint white like a swan. You're going to need a drill to get the holes in the side to zip tie our floaters. Our floaters are going to be pool noodles. So I bought a few white pool noodles. You're going to need some carabiners. These are matte black. Got them on Amazon, fairly cheap. You can get them with these twist locks on them or not. It doesn't matter. These were just the best option, so I went with those. Gonna need decoy line, PVC decoy line, decoy cord crimps. Gonna need some weights that you're gonna need to paint your decoys up. I use this Rust-Oleum flat white. These are the bigger cans. I found that for each one of those decoys, you're gonna need 1 can of the regular size paint. So I buy these bonus cans, a little bit cheaper, and you'll use it. So about 2 of those large cans for 3 decoys, or the smaller cans are 1 for 1. White zip ties. I got these to secure the pool noodles to the inside of the shell. You're gonna need a hammer or a crimper and a knife. I'll also add, for all of this stuff over here, the cheapest place I could find is Amazon. You can pretty much get free shipping on anything, fairly priced, and you can get all your odds and ends. There's probably not a lot of stores where you can get white pool noodles and paint and duck hunting stuff in one spot, so Amazon is, in my opinion, the best way to go. Right, so here is what the swan looks like after we painted it. Now I found that when you're painting something really dark with white spray paint, you're not going to get a perfect white covering. It shows up honestly more on camera than it does in person, but if you just keep trying to spray the dark spots, the light spots will end up becoming the dark spots. So if you're a perfectionist, I guess you can go ahead and touch it up, but as far as I know, the swans won't really care. Juvenile swans anyways have kind of black feathering mixed in, so I think this will work just fine. We're going to tackle the pool noodles. So it looks like each swan, at least from this brand of decoys, takes about a pool noodle and a half. We're gonna go ahead and line the inside of the decoy with leaving a little bit on the bottom with these pool noodles. And as you can see, I kind of cut them to shape. When we zip tie them down, they'll be nice and orderly and should give it an even flotation. Next up is drilling your holes. I already did them. I usually do 1 and 1 for those back pieces. You could put another one here if you were worried about it. And then up front, usually 1, 2, on each side, and then one right up front. Okay, so as you can see, I got the pool noodles all lined up, and I've started all of the zip ties. You don't want to tighten one down, then one down, then one down, because sometimes you can get your pressure in the wrong points, and it won't end up nice and even. So get them all prepped like this, and then go one by one a little bit until they're all secured and the pool noodles in the right location that you want. Okay, so I got all these zip ties fastened, and it came out pretty good, pretty even. If we go and flip it over, you'll see that when they're floating in the water, those swans won't be able to see any of that flotation. The only bit that sticks out is just in the back, but you'd have to be eye level at it, so this looks pretty good. All right, now we can go ahead and snip these zip ties off to your liking. I still want to be able to stack these just a little bit. I know the pool noodles will be kind of in the way, but I can kind of stack them at an angle, and so I just want to get them out of the way. Okay, so we got your decoys looking like swans, and now they can float. So the next important thing to worry about is the rigging and the weights. So this is kind of just a method I thought of when I was looking at these swans and thinking how I can make it work. There are grommets on either side of the goose. So these are for when they're in a field. You can tie a string to them and stake them down to the ground so they don't blow away. But what I've done is I've taken some of that decoy string and those little rivets and making loops on either side. All right, so the next step is to make these 3 pieces. So this string I left open on one end, and on the other end made a loop and got one of my carabiners. This one is going to be just about as wide as the decoy is, a little bit longer, with loops and carabiners on either side. And this one is your weight, which is a little loop and a carabiner. And I will show you how this is all rigged up on the decoy. The front of the decoy, there's the underneath side, and there is that middle strap. So I have it hooked onto each of these loops that we've made on the grommets. And then I tie this, or I carabine this long line to the bottom. So my theory here was, when this thing is on the water, if the wind is gonna take it anywhere, probably won't take it down the front or the side or the back. It'll try to take it from one of the sides. So both those sides are anchored down to this point. And then I left this line real long. I'm not sure exactly how deep of water we're gonna be hunting in, and it probably will vary quite a bit. So what I can do is, when I get to where I'm gonna be hunting, I can test the length of the depth of the water and adjust my line to it. So let's say I want my weight to be right here. I can just take this, make a simple loop, make a knot, and then that can be the depth where I tie my anchor to. I can just clip that to it, and then the rest of this extra line can just float at the bottom, or sink at the bottom. And if, let's say, I was hunting somewhere that was a little deeper, I could take this loop out, move it down the line towards the bottom, and do the same thing. So it's basically just an adjustable depth decoy line. So this is the finished product. Let's take her to the water and see how she floats. I'm at my local pond testing out these decoys, and they look pretty good. Let's show it to you. The finished product. They float well. They just sit a little bit below the water line. Got my rig. This water is real shallow, so I have just about a foot of string that I tied off, and this Rig-'em-Right string sinks, so whatever you don't need, the ducks probably won't be able to see it. So yeah, I think this project turned out well. I'm going to be using these later in the season and testing them out on some swans. So thanks for watching the video, guys. Hope you guys learned from this, and we'll see you next time.